if you don't want to spend fortune on repairs, you have to do maintenance of such components like transmission. Leatherette for 100,000 bucks or euros. Cracks here on leatherette. And I'll attach pictures. Well, the things began to happen even before I took the ownership, and noticed another unpleasant thing. Hi guys, my name is Mike, and today we're gonna talk about used BMW X6 M50D in F16 body. And what is it? Owning it for 1 year. We'll speak about M50D model and its engine in general briefly, about this particular configuration, about what issues happened during the first year of ownership, and how much did it cost to own it for 1 year. And of course I'll give some advice. So, what do you think I'm holding in my arms? Correct, these are the bills for maintenance and repair. And how do you think? Did it accumulate 10 grand green? Yes or no? Well, let's see. Write in comments yes or no. First, a few words about M50D and its engine, N57S. Yes, M50D is a model code, but the correct engine code is N57S. And yeah, it is a diesel engine. Many think that this is the same engine that is installed on 30Ds and 40Ds, but with 2 additional turbines, which is not right. In fact, the design of the cylinder block of this engine uses a more reliable method of tightening the crankshaft bearing caps, crankshaft and the cylinder head. So as a result, this increases the strength of the construction. Also, it has enhanced pistons and crankshaft, so the engine itself is designed for higher load and as a result more reliable. But of course, when we talk about used car, it depends how the previous owner did drive the car and how he did maintain the car. This M50D has 381 horsepower, and the good about it is that the consumption in mountains, where I usually drive, is just 10.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Well, actually the computer shows even less, it shows 9.1 or something. But in fact, if you measure it physically from refueling to refueling, their actual consumption will be 10.5 liters. Now we'll talk about this particular configuration. This one has pretty rich configuration. However, this car does not have dynamic drive. Dynamic drive is an enhanced transmission which differs from the stock by rear bridge differential, having in addition left and right sections. Well, it is aimed to provide additional stability on turns. On the other hand, it would require additional maintenance. as when you change oil in transmission, you'll have to do it in central and side sections in the rear bridge. And yes, if you think what the hell is this guy talking about, guys, used premium SUV requires a bit of a knowledge. If you don't want to spend fortune on repairs, you have to do maintenance of such components like transmission, differential, transfer case, gearbox, of course. Well, we'll talk about this a bit later in a separate video, because it's a big topic, how to maintain the transmission on these SUVs. So anyway, this one doesn't have dynamic drive, and the rear bridge has only one differential. And from point of view buying a used premium car, for me it's just another few expensive components that can fail and require proper maintenance. So I was pretty happy that it doesn't have dynamic drive. But what this car has is the true leather seats. Yeah, you can see it here. Those who knows about BMW noticed that this one has true leather seats. And this is important, yeah, because I'm now appealing to future BMW owners, especially those who never had BMW before, and those who are buying it new. You might thought that buying a 100k car, you're definitely going to have a true leather seats. And it's absolutely not correct. In standard, these cars, M50Ds, they equipped with leatherette seats. Yes. So you have to emphasize, when you are ordering new cars, you have to emphasize that you want true leather, natural leather seats. Otherwise, the dealer may just not pay your attention, and you'll get leatherette for 100,000 bucks or euros. Doesn't matter. Pretty expensive for leatherette, as in my opinion. For those who buy used BMWs X6 with leatherette, this is what you're gonna have at a mileage of about 100,000 kilometers. You'll have cracks here on leatherette, and I'll attach pictures of couple of these cars with cracks. When I purchased this car, the mileage was 96,000 kilometers. A year later, it had 117,000 kilometers, so I did about 20,000 kilometers a year. And we move to what has been happening to this car. Well, the things began to happen even before I took the ownership. At the very day of transfer of title, on the way to garage, where we agreed with the owner to lift it and watch from the down, to check if there are any leaks or whatever needs some attention and may reduce the price or even divert me from buying it. So on the way to that garage, he scratched the car. He scratched the rear part, the arc and the door. Well, it looks dramatic because the car had protection film, but in fact it wasn't that much. There was no that much damage, and I repaired it and the owner wanted to close the deal fast, and he gave me an additional discount of 500 euros, and that was okay for me. The next issue with this car is that the previous owner, lost the second key, and I had to order a new one for 250 euros, and it was a bit of a challenge, but okay, I'm not gonna count it in the overall, because this problem comes from the previous owner and this is not really technical issue with this car and things like that, so we just skip this 250 euros and move further. By the way, at the very first day, when I already took the ownership and brought it to my house, I also scratched it. I scratched the back of the car when I was parking in the garage, because here garages are very small in the mountains, and sometimes with a bigger car you can't really do maneuvering in order to park it, so finally I even did not manage to park it inside, so I had to park it outside. So the damage wasn't too big. I polished that myself and noticed another unpleasant thing that I have to acknowledge I missed when was doing a pre-purchase check. And this was banded exhaust. So the left edge of the exhaust was kind of deepened inside. What happened that in the past, obviously there was some accident and they replaced or repaired bumper, but and did not repair the exhaust, didn't pay attention, or I don't know. And the problem was that it wasn't just the edge broken. The problem is that more detailed inspection showed that the damage is the pipe, the exhaust line under the car. It was more bended on one of the curves, so it became more sharp. And that's why it was deepened inside the body. To fix this I had to find a really good exhaust shop which is specialized on exhausts, because the usual mechanic told me that he doubts that it is possible to repair it, rather except as just replace the whole unit. Well, I found this exhaust workshop and they did such a good repair that now you wouldn't ever notice that there was something wrong. They are now both very symmetric, everything on its place. I have no idea what they do. I did not stood there and I didn't watch them doing, but within 1 hour they did it, they repaired it, and I'm still not counting the costs. And now we begin. In a month after buying, I noticed that the rear part of the car drops down during the night, and when I come in the morning and start the engine, I hear the compressor working and pumps up the rear part. This is how I found out that suspension here consists of gas shock absorbers and air cushions which were broken. So about 1 month later, once in the morning, the compressor failed to pump it up, and on the computer there appeared a warning that I must go to the workshop, and well, I went to the workshop to replace these air cushions along with the door rubbers, these seals, because The previous one were pretty much worn. I don't know why. Is it because of the dry climate or because the body of the car was in the protection film, and perhaps the edges of that protection film turn the rubbers, so doesn't matter. I decided to replace them as well, and altogether this cost me 897 euros. So the next thing I had to do is to change oil in the gearbox or automatic transmission fluid. Well, generally you have to do it ideally each 60,000 kilometers of mileage. Yeah? However, as always with this car, there is a challenge here. The oil change in the gearbox in transmission has to be done properly. If you do it wrong, you may kill your gearbox shortly. I will make another video on this topic, but briefly, the ATF change requires a reset of self-adaptive values. For this, the workshop has to have proper knowledge, experience and soft. Also, this car, apart from the gearbox, has a transfer case and two differential, front and back. So it's 4 components. All of them have lubricant inside, and it is, by the way, different everywhere. All worth to change, especially when it is already 100,000 kilometers. So again, I found a shop that specializes in transmission and gave them the car. And I did it right. Why? Because
okay, this is a small leak in the differential, the front differential case, but this is only at the outside, on the right side. There is very small leak.
Okay, Mitchell, this is your oil of the front differential. It's plenty of it's carbon, lot of carbon, very dirty, and it has very bad smell. And the quantity is very low. It's around half a liter, a little bit more. It's not so. The leak is bad for that differential.
when the guys opened the covers, they found that the transfer case already had leak because of worn seal. So yes, I paid over 2,000 euros, including seal and engine support replacement, but I saved much more maintaining all transmission properly. And especially the transfer case, because if I hadn't replaced it, it would have broken in the next few thousand kilometers, and I would have to replace the whole unit and still to do the maintenance of the rest of transmission. So mind your transmission. The next issue was an accident. You may say this is not about money and owning the car, and I will argue and explain why. Somebody scratched the car when it was parked outside during the night. The scratch was on the front bumper and the headlight. And what it means, a headlight damaged. Perhaps there could be cracks somewhere, and because of that it may start sweating and at the end of the day fail, and you'll have to replace it. And this is a BMW adaptive LED, meaning it automatically changes the low to high beam during when you drive at night, depending on oncoming car. And this light costs 3,000 euros. So imagine if it failed and you have to replace it on your own cost. Now, why I'm speaking about it? Because guys, having such a car, you have to have an all risks insurance, and it's deductible. I will count. Because not having an insurance may result in big pain just because someone hit your car and ran away. So my insurance painted the bumper and replaced the light for a new one. By the way, an interesting thing, initially the car had silver grille kidneys, but most of us like black, right? So I purchased non-original black ones, and when painted the bumper asked them just to replace them and not to throw away the original. And when I saw my car after repair with new non-original kidneys, I realized that non-original very much differ from original ones. Non-original kidneys are kind of thinner and solid, but originals are more massive and consist from 3 parts. So there are 2 kidneys, each one consists of 3 parts assembled all together, and this is 1 kidney. So what I did, I ordered to paint them glossy black, and will install them back later when for any reason I will have to remove bumper or do some maintenance in that area, and it looks that soon I will have to, but everything is in right order. So next unpleasant failure was error of lane departure warning system. It appeared suddenly. The diagnostics showed that the reason is failed steering electronic unit. The diagnostics cost me 47 euros, and repair estimate will be 750 euros. I'm not gonna rush to repair it, as I have more serious issue, which raised when I was driving to diagnostics, and the issue is overheating. It was a hot day. I moved in the mountains and suddenly noticed that the temperature gauge is around 115 degrees Celsius, which is not normal. Well, here there is many discussions that some say it is normal, some say it is not. My opinion, it is not normal. Why? Because with the same conditions I drove a month before, and the temperature was steady on 100 degrees, but we'll come back to this later. So there was no engine check alarm. When I noticed this, I just dropped the accelerator pedal, and it cooled down fast. I carefully continued the trip, and now drive with service menu and its temperature tool always on. Here it is possible to call the service menu, where you can see the many actually different interesting things, including temperature of oil, temperature of coolant. There are some other interesting things I will show in the next video about the overheating, how to call this service menu, if somebody doesn't know it for BMW. So my suspect is that this is either thermostat, water pump, radiator, or fan, but it will be another video about it. And the problem is that there are not too many workshops around that can make diagnostics properly, and even for those you have to make appointment couple of weeks before. So why I'm telling all this is because before buying a used premium car like this, it is wise to wonder if you have good workshops around for general mechanics, transmissions, and I'm not speaking about engines or electronics, as anything can fail here pretty suddenly. Like for example the unfastened front passenger seat belt alarm, when the passenger is actually not even inside the car. And again, this is not my priority to fix now. And yes, this beautiful ticking sound that I think was from the beginning, I'll try to catch it on camera and insert in this video. If not, just explaining when it is on, there is a sound from somewhere, a hood, from the hood, yeah, like beautiful. Well, so to sum up, we add general maintenance for changing oil filters, and oil, which I do pretty often, for oil and oil filter every 8-9,000 kilometers, and air, fuel, interior filters, and fuel filter every second oil change. Altogether it is 1,300 euros, and still, with all these costs, after 1 year of ownership, there are still 4 open items: unfastened seat belt alarm when the passenger is not there at all, lane departure warning malfunction, overheating, and that sound from under the hood, but that is, I think, nothing special. Well, I'm sure to fix all this will be around 2,000 euros more. So the result roughly, yes, and by the way, insurance. So the result for first year of ownership, maintenance and repair costs for this car is already for about 4,300 euros. Plus, if you add my estimation about how much it would cost to repair the seat belt warning sign, lane departure, overheating, it would be around plus 2,000. So roughly you can count 6,300 euros. Frankly speaking, and looking back, in this region, with such a used premium, such workshops, I actually doubt that I had purchased this car if I knew all this. I often think that it might have been wiser to add extra money and buy a new lower class like BMW 4 with less powerful engine. So, but anyway, it's late in all senses, and now I'm gonna struggle with these 4 open items, and the next video will be about overheating and how I struggled, which components I replaced how. By the way, one of them, pretty expensive, was replaced by warranty, taking into consideration that the car is already what, 8 years old, and I'll explain how to do it.